everybody, it's Trigger Bar Philosopher. Welcome back out to the channel. Hope everyone's having a great week. Today we're going to be talking about some updates and some new information about the Glock Gen 6. We're going to be doing some testing with it. Should be a good time. Let's get to shooting. Now I know, Glock videos, you know, dime a dozen, blah, blah, blah. And I'm a little bit late to this, but I do have a couple of, I think, important updates and then a test that I haven't seen conducted yet. I'm sure the internet's a wide space, so I'm sure someone's done it, but I figured I would do it. So the two updates that I'm going to talk about, first off, I'm going to talk about the updated plate or wedge that's going on the pistol that you'll see here now. I got this from the Glock store. And as you can tell, it replaces the plastic plate that comes from Glock and fills in the holes, right? We all want something, well, we don't all want something that fills in the holes, but we want something on our Glock that fills in the holes. And so Glock Store finally came out. I ordered this back at the end of December. Glock Store is famous for putting stuff out that they don't actually have in their store. So I waited until, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, and it's probably the end of March. This finally got shipped to me. And then I got it for the Holosun EPS, which I think is a great one because it sits perfectly in alignment, doesn't fall over the sides of the Glock. It's kind of the perfect size for this Glock 45 Gen 6. You can see it fits very well. Well, it does now. When I first got it, it did not fit. It would not fit in. The dot would not fit in the new wedge that's made out of aluminum that they put in there. I had to do some filing. I did some filing on the optic and I did some filing on that little wedge that they put in here. Now remember, the new Glock Gen 6 has its new direct mounting system that's pretty good. So the screws go directly through here. You do not need this wedge. They come with some plastic plates that just kind of seal it in there. But I think it's important for us to just kind of look at this and I don't know. So far, I haven't told Glock Store this, but I want to put out the warning sign to folks that I think it works. We're going to test it out, make sure that it works and that it didn't mess up the function, that I can still zero the dot, so on and so forth. But it is tight in there, and I had to use some stones just to sand down the aluminum on both sides in the front, maybe a little on the rear, just to make sure that it fit better. I expected a little better from Glock Store. Usually they have great products that fit with Glock, but in the end, it's a very tight, very snug fit, but I wasn't buying something that was make to fit. Like I wasn't buying that. So that's a quick update on that. The next update is I have a video out there about the Radian Ramjet. And I said, does the Glock Gen 5 Radian Ramjet fit and work in the Glock Gen 6? And I ran over 200 rounds testing without any malfunction. Everything seemed to run pretty flawlessly. And even Radian Ramjet came out and said, yeah, you can run them in there. Well, let's take a look. They and Glock have come out with something that they're warning us about. So let's take a look at that. What we have over here is we've got our Gen 6 barrel over here on the left. You'll notice there's a little cutout right here. Little kind of corner is taken out. Now Glock says that they did that for safety because that was sometimes interfering with the trigger bar. And when the gun would get dropped, it might be a safety issue and might hit it, so they took off a little edge. Because remember, for the Glock Gen 6 versus the Gen 5s and so forth, they messed with the location of the trigger so that you couldn't modify it and do things like that. Because YouTube, we never modify things. So they put this notch in here, they claim for safety. You'll notice this is our Gen 5 barrel. You notice that it does not have that notch in there. Notch is cut out right there, and it's square over here. So I actually have the Gen 5 barrel still in my Glock Gen 6. So what we're going to do is, first off, is we're going to test it, make sure that we get this dot here zeroed in and that everything is going fine with that and that Glock Store didn't screw us up. Then we're going to do a little bit of a test. Now, this is my guns and my stuff like that. I don't really want to ruin it, but what we're going to do is I have some sized in prime brass. One is actually a pulled case from Federal, and so it has that Federal soft primer that might go off if hit. The other one has a CCI small pistol primer and is reloaded. And so what we're going to do is we're going to drop that in, and then we're going to drop this, and we're going to see. We'll drop it about 10 times. My guess is it won't go off, but if it does, we'll validate that there is a safety issue with running the Gen 5 barrels and Gen 5 Radian Ramjets. And then we will also test it with the non one if it goes off. If it doesn't, you know, maybe we'll stop dropping it. But that's what's on tap for today, so that should be fun. Let's get to shooting. Okay, well, we're standing out at about 15 yards. We will just shoot some shots with this. Again, Gen 5 barrel and the Glock Gen 6. I haven't really done much testing with it, or I've done a lot of shooting with it, but first off, what we're going to do is we're just going to make sure that we can sight it and make sure that we can move the optic as we're up, down, left, right, because that is in there very tight, and that's a concern of mine. So let's make sure that we can zero this first. Okay, we are sitting pretty high, so let me drop that down. What we got now. A little lower. We still need to go lower though. Still gotta keep coming. All right, well, the gun is zeroed. Why don't we now just shoot 5 shots? I think that's 6, but whatever. Make safe here. All right, let's go down and check it out. Just taking a look. This is our 6 shots. We got 3 above, 3 below. Again, all in the fist at 15 yards. That's not bad shooting for me. So optic is working great, and yeah, no issues there. So again, taking a look at that, it's got a very tight fit. It looks really good, actually. But I was a little pissed when I spent about 20 minutes sanding. You can see a little bit of the filing. I haven't painted it yet. See a little bit of the edge right there of where I was sanding, a little bit over there. But, yep. All right, well, that's kind of frustrating. So I just did the test. I just talked about it. And then I dropped the sucker 10 times. And it didn't go off. But I'm going to do it a couple more times. You can tell my pistol is all getting all beat up, marked up, marred. Yeah. Scraped up, dinged up. But we're putting that the no powder, no bullet, just a live primer. This is the Federal Soft Primer. We're going to put that in and we're going to drop it. I already did it. I dropped it 10 times with this primer. I dropped it down on the nose. I dropped it on the back. I dropped it on the side. Dropped it at different angles. And we got nothing, guys. We got nothing. So we'll do a few more times because I wasn't smart enough to turn on my video camera. And now for some reason, I did it fine multiple times. All right, so we'll drop this in. And we're going to drop it. Just like that. We did that about 10 times. We did it this way. We did it sideways. And then we pulled it out. Again, it's kind of hurting me. I'm not the kind of guy that likes to do that to his stuff. So we got no marks on the primer, but lots of marks on the pistol. Getting all dinged up on my stuff here. So yeah, fortunately the dot's holding up. And then we had one more with a CCI primer. That was a Federal primer, which is soft. So we'll do that. We'll just drop it once. I don't know the failure mode for it and what they're claiming, but let's just drop it once. Yeah, nothing here. Okay, well, we've went back. You know, Glock is saying don't do it. And it's part of the thing is I think I trust Glock. I think I do. I don't think they're trying to make you go buy another Radian Ramjet. They wouldn't have put that cut in there unless there probably was an issue. But they claim it's drop safety. I've had some conversations with some gunsmiths who are online and say, look, there's still quite a bit of clearance for that trigger bar. So I guess maybe it's under very extreme circumstances and not just a normal drop, but you know, that's also, if you do have a negligent discharge, you're putting yourself at some sort of legal risk if you're not following the manufacturer's recommendations. So, you know, I think that's it. So for now, we're back to the Gen 6 barrel. I have some Federal 124 grain plus P now. All right, it's not bad. And why don't we also shoot the Gen 5 Glock 45, which has the Radian Ramjet back. This is the pre-Koa, the original OG Glock factory optic cut with the acro. So I'm gonna shoot that too. I like shooting with the Radian Ramjet. All right, well, this is with the Gen 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, and then this is up here with the Gen 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, plus an extra. Not bad shooting in there. 6. Gen 5. Okay, well, let's wrap things up. Today we had a good day at the range testing our Glock Gen 6, Glock 45 Gen 6 with the Radian Ramjet and the Glock Store aftermarket plate or adapter or wedge or whatever you want to call it. You call it with Glock because, again, not really a plate because the screws go directly down into the slide. This just fills in the gaps, hold it in a little bit more snug. Again, the downside to this adapter plate is that I had to essentially fit it myself using some stones, and not sure that I was really expecting that. Usually when you buy things, you say, hey, this may or may not fit. It has to be hand fit. This is an early generation. Hopefully Glock Store gets that turned around and they are more fittable, if you will. Again, it's exciting that they do have a plate released for the EPS, you know, this K style footprint, RMSC style footprint, because the regular Glock plates didn't really permit that. So I think this is a good matchup, especially for a carry gun. You may want a bigger optic or a different sized optic for a non-carry gun, but super excited about that. I think the fit and finish looks really great, but of course then I had to sand it all off and stone it all off as I was trying to get everything to fit. So we got that done. Then we were able to zero it. I don't know what I was thinking. I think it's probably an electronic zero that's going on where it moves the dot in and out. At the bottom of these optics, it looks like there may be up, down, like physical motion of it, but I think that's probably not the case. I was just a little worried. You press this dot and hold it in super tight. Does it all move around? I think it's an electronic zero. So I think I'm just being stupid. And then the lastly is it drop safe with the Glock Radian Ramjet Gen 5? That was a little bit of a controversy. I haven't seen much more. Generally speaking, we trust Glock when they say, hey, look, we had to make this cutout because there were some safety issues or perceived safety issues to be on the safe side. I don't really want to mess with a gun where the manufacturer says we did this for a safety issue. We don't recommend it. So yeah, so in a previous video of mine, I said it looks like it works just fine. I hadn't heard of those safety issues when that came out. Now I just wanted to put it to the test. And even though you only saw me do it on video 4 or 5 times, I probably did it over, at least 25 times this day, dropping it with those primed cases in there and didn't even get a primer mark on them when I was doing it with the Gen 5 barrel. So I'm not sure what the safety issue is or if it's just a tolerance issue, and sometimes the trigger bar can be just a millimeter over to the left, over to the right. That may interfere with the barrel and you may get the drop safe issues. I'm not saying this is definitively answers the issues. I just thought, hey, why don't we test it out? And my testing came back negative. Really hard to prove that something can't happen when you do a low sample size like I did. You'd probably need tens of thousands of chances with that, or times with that, and I am not going to do that with my gun that I paid for. I already got some markings on my optic. I know, boo-hoo, whatever. All right, well, let me know what you guys think about the Glock Gen 6, Radian Ramjet, and these new plates from the Glock Store. I hope everyone has a great week. Let's get to shooting.
From pistols to rifles, we'll take on the best. Review and each weapon, put them to the test. With revolvers and shotguns, we'll break it all down. The Second Amendment protects from the crown. Living for freedom.